Welcome to our channel, Escape to a Simpler Place in Time. We live in the Rose Valley in central Bulgaria. We are leaving our village to travel over the Troyan Pass to the house we have just purchased on the other side of the Balkan Mountains. The property dates back to the period of the Bulgarian Revival and is approximately 200 years old. The house was so dilapidated when we first viewed it, we didn't realise the treasure that we were about to inherit. We plan to restore the house to its original glory using traditional building practices and techniques. Some of these we will be exploring today. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you all a funny story. For those of you who watched our previous renovation video, you'll remember that I was very concerned about the amount of rain we were having due to the many holes we had in our roof. We don't know many people in this village, but we've always found the Bulgarians to be very helpful. So we asked one of the few people we do know if they knew of anyone who could help us fix our roof. They told us that they did and that they would ask their friend to call around. Sure enough, later that day we found a gentleman in the street staring at our roof. I was able to ask in my very poor Bulgarian if he was able to help with the roof. And he said yes, and his name was Peter. Peter dutifully inspected the roof, and I gave him 400 Bulgarian lev to go and buy some materials. Later that day, we saw our friend again who had recommended Peter, and I informed him that Peter had been. He looked at me in horror and said, "I don't know anyone called Peter." This is one of the downfalls of living in a foreign country when you don't speak the language very well. The story does have an happy ending in that Peter did reappear the following day and did the work. And it transpired that he was actually an accomplished roofer. Very serendipitous. Also from our last video, you may remember Jeff's accident and that he fell through the floor of our kitchen into the cellar. We have now completely removed all of the clay from this floor and we now need to replace it with new floorboards. We haven't been in a hurry with the progress since our last video, especially as Jeff hurt himself quite badly falling through the kitchen floor. But this is the next stage of the renovation process.
We have treated the woodworm and we're now just filling the woodworm holes with wax.
As the house is a timber frame structure, we have had to treat all of the beams both inside and out for woodworm, and now we are treating them with linseed oil. Inside the house, I am removing the plaster from this wall. At some point, someone has replaced the lime plaster on this wall with gypsum plaster. Lime plaster has been used for thousands of years. It is a mixture of lime, sand and water and may contain a binding agent such as animal hair. Lime plaster is breathable and it also allows moisture to escape from the wood. This is very important on a timber frame building. Do any of our amazing Bulgarian viewers know what this is, or rather what it's for? It's a little shelf just behind the door. And Jeff is also oiling the beams in the courthouse next to the house.
This wall was traditionally an external wall, and you can see the main structural timbers, the support plates, the beams under the floor, and then you can even see the wattle and lath in between the main structural timbers, and then it's got a clay and straw plaster over the top. This property didn't have a property next to it originally, so these posts here would have been the original support posts for this property. And then they've just built the property next door up at a later date, still using the timber frame construction, but obviously as it's a later era, they've used brick infill rather than plaster lath. We are hoping to leave all these beams and the brickwork exposed and just repoint it to make it look a little bit more finished.